Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coach Ed's Amazing World of Sports. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate you. First thing I want to ask you guys to do is, if you wouldn't mind, like and subscribe, and also share on all the social media platforms that you have available to you. It'll really help me out, help grow the channel, and make this thing one of the best that is out there. Together, we can do that. Now, today I wanted to talk about a couple of things near and dear to my heart: Giants, Knicks, and Yankees. The first thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is the Knicks, because most recently they just were involved in the draft lottery last night. Now, unfortunately, they did not move up into the top four or even the top three. They actually stayed at 11. So at least they did not get bumped back, but they're not moving it forward. Now, in that position, one of the things that I was thinking about is, what position do you think that they should attack? Is it a point guard or is it shooting? We know that they really need both, and consistent players at both. A smart point guard who can facilitate the offense, control, as well as hit those timely shots. So that would be very, very helpful, and could also help develop the other young players that are on the team. Now, the other issue is the shooting, consistent shooting. Now, if we had consistent shooting night in and night out, and not the sporadic type, that could also help facilitate the offense and make this team a little bit better. So to me, those are the two positions I would look at as far as trying to acquire players through the draft. Now all positions are open. We're also going to have to look at what happens with Mitchell Robinson. And, if Mitchell does walk, then, maybe we may have to reevaluate and look at a center. Now, Jericho Sims did play very well last year, but, he's only going into his second year. We do have Nerlens Noel, but, how reliable is he going to be? He's pretty much all defense, but he's more so injury prone. So that is a major concern for me. So, now if he wasn't as injury prone and he played like he played in the year before, a little bit more, then I would say, okay, you can let Mitchell walk. But, right now that concerns me. So if Mitchell walks, then in the draft, we may have to really look into, drafting a viable center, or at least evaluating the players there and see if there's one that is talented enough to be taken at the 11th position. The other thing I wanted to talk about with the Knicks is players that are tradable. Now I know it takes two to tango, but to me, if you can get these contracts off of your books, then that would be a bonus. Yes, we all know Kemba. We love him dearly. He's one of us, but it's not working out. So he definitely has to go. Alex Burks. Now, Alex is a toss-up. If he's coming off of the bench and he's productive, I think he's more productive that way than as opposed to being a starter, especially being the point guard. Maybe one game or two games, sporadically, throughout the course of this season, he can help out and pitch in. Yes, okay, that's fine. But to be a player that you want to rely on night in and night out, no. But if we do also get consistent shooting, then maybe, and depending on what happens with other players on the roster, then maybe trading Alex Burks to get his contract off the book, is a good thing. The same thing can be said with Nerlens Noel, depending on what happens with Mitchell Robinson, and if we also get another center in. If we can, if Mitchell walks, and we can get another center in, at a cost-effective rate, then yes, get Nerlens Noel off the books. The other one, the major one right now, is going to be Evan Fournier. I know he was the big money contract player from last year, but he's too inconsistent. And if you get some more consistent shooting, he's going to be regulated to the bench. And do you want that kind of money coming off of the bench night in and night out? So, maybe there's another team that's, chasing the championship and they can afford to do that. Then, yes, if we can get him out there off the books, then that would be a great thing. And of course, the big elephant in the room, which is, many New York Knicks fans debate is going to be Randall. What do we do with Julius Randle? With Obi's game starting to take off, we don't want to hinder that. And Obi would fit better with a lot of the younger players than Randle. Randle plays a lot of the ISO ball. He can facilitate. He is, he does try. His defense did slack this year along with his scoring. So he is a player that is able to, step up. But he this past season he regressed. So that's a concern. So do you want to trade him so Obi can develop? Because to close out the season, Obi was fantastic. So, and if he continues to develop, then it's more prudent because it's more cost effective, and Obi is exciting, and he brings a different dimension to the offense, which would also help everyone else. So, those players are the ones that I was thinking about, as far as tradable players. Now, I know some of you may ask about Derrick Rose, and I get it. I understand. But Derrick Rose, to me, is key, especially with Quickly. They work very well together. And plus, Derrick is that elder statesman, and everybody in the locker room and within the organization respects him. So if we can keep him, and I understand about the injuries, so yes, that is a valid argument. But if there are ways that we can keep him, limit, the amount of minutes on a night in and night out basis, that could go a long way and help Quickly develop in his game. I also want to see what he can do with the other guys, the other wing players that we have, on the roster with RJ and everyone else. How does he fit with them, and how can he help them, grow, develop, and grow? So, with the Knicks, those are my Knicks thoughts right now that I wanted to talk about. So the next up I wanted to talk about is, of course, the Giants. Today, we made some roster moves, bringing in 4 defensive players, 3 defensive backs, 2 cornerbacks, and a safety. So, Shane and Dable are really focused on that, and, they're trying to find the right fits. The guys who came in, have some ties to Wink Martindale and his system. So, while they're not, I'm going to say primetime players, but, they can be key contributors and also good special teams players. So that can help in the long run. And they're also veteran guys. So, that can help, with the other guys develop, and also push a lot of guys to compete, so, guys don't want to lose their jobs. So, that's going to be an important factor. Now the big talk is, throughout Twitter world and all through social media, is James Bradberry signing a 1-year contract with Philadelphia. I understand that there are many who, are upset, and, we let him go and he's going to a division rival, which can, come back to bite us. But I'm not afraid. I'm not concerned. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Bradberry is not Deion Sanders, where he's going to literally take your number 1 player and take him out of the books completely. He has gone up against several of our receivers, and they put work on him. So, it can be done. The other factor is, as a coach, one of the things that I have always done when former players go to other teams, I look at what they did with us, not only on the field, but on the practice field. What type of temperament, what type of attitude, how do they practice? Does it translate onto the field? Those are important factors. How did our players attack that player, during practice? Was it a consistent situation where, that player was, our player was taking control and dominating the other player? that has left the organization, those things to me are important. So I trust that Dable will be able, and the coaching staff will be able to, look at the film, and not only the game film, but the practice film, with it, that the Giants have within the organization, and break it down. Meetings, what type of meeting notes does the organization have, in terms of the players, did said player, was he always not paying attention? Was he falling asleep? Those little things. All that adds up, and it could go into our benefit. So yes, he went over to Philadelphia, and it does help them. I'm not saying Bradbury isn't a good player. He definitely is. And I definitely appreciated when he was here and the things that he did and the sacrifice that he did for our organization. But now he's green. So, and if he's green, that means he's the opposition, and I want to attack him. I want to attack him and take advantage of all his weaknesses and take away his strengths. Don't play to his strengths. You play to his weaknesses. So, and if that's some of the things that we can do, within the offense, that's something that I think would be very important. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about goes to the Yankees. Yesterday, Aaron Judge fell short of hitting 3 home runs in the game. He had 2, which is a good thing. But one of the hits, hit off the top of the wall and went for a double. He was thrown out at third, but it was a double. Now, the talk was, he didn't like it. I mean, you ask the question, and of course you're not going to like it. He didn't make a big deal about it, but of course you're going to speak, when someone asks you the question and your thoughts. No, I didn't like it, because Baltimore this year raised the left field fence. Okay, I get it. Teams do that all the time. They raise the fences, or sometimes they lessen they bring the fences down. So it's something to me that what, it happens. It's not that big of a deal. But I have seen many people on Twitter, talk about that and ad nauseum, and make it seem like it's robbing the Yankees, of a game. We won the game. No matter what, we won the game. Okay, it's a stat, and Judges wants that stat because, he's in that year, that contract year, and I get it, but it's not that major of a deal. So, hopefully, everyone will let it go and settle down and just move forward and continue to root for our beloved Yankees. And we'll love to see them continue to be the best team in the league, and hopefully continue to develop and grow, and maybe bring another championship to the Big Apple. Well, that's going to be it today for today's show. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Again, hopefully you guys will like and subscribe and put this channel on all the other social media platforms. So thank you again. And I want to say peace and blessings. And also remember, when it comes to sports, turn it on and turn it up. Peace.